can you talk to me as a non-hockey fan about what happened in the Four Nations tournament over the weekend?
I can. A lot of people have been broaching this subject with me around Scottsdale because hockey is not the early voice crack there. I like that. Here in Scottsdale, hockey's not the biggest thing. It's getting bigger. Austin Matthews is from Scottsdale, so it's definitely getting bigger. A good amount of NHL guys retire here. So again, it's getting a little bit bigger. But Desert, the Coyotes just left here. They're now the Utah Hockey Club. Hockey's not the biggest thing here, so I'm surrounded by a bunch of friends here. Whereas back home in St. Louis, all my friends, we all grew up playing hockey together. My whole kind of network on the Northeast, because I was still playing hockey as a kid, whatever, are all hockey guys. Out here, people really aren't hockey folks. However, this game, USA-Canada, I saw Dave tweeting about it. This USA-Canada game transcended sports out of nowhere on
Absolutely
Saturday night. And a big part of it, I think, is social media. The fact that people were able to just have injected into their veins before they even knew the game was going on, that there have been 3 fights in the first 9 seconds of the game. I think everyone sort of did kind of what we try to get golf to do, which is they were like, what? Where is this on? This is on television. I have to now watch this. Hockey with USA Canada is so unique in that the two countries just in that sport are such bitter rivals. And a lot of it goes back to from if you play hockey at a pretty high level, Trent, Canada is so close and Canada has been so dominant in hockey for so long that the two cultures and the two types of players end up blending together. Like if you look at a lot of college hockey teams, Michigan, Minnesota, Wisconsin, a lot of the ECAC schools, like the league that we played in, Ivy League schools, half the roster are Canadian players. So you end up within your team even, you have this rivalry of the Canadian dudes against the American dudes. It just exists, and it exists in such a way where U.S., as we know, we are a pretty goddamn dominant country on this planet Earth. We're a superpower. We've got the most nukes. We won both world wars. We got all the culture. If you want to go be some gigantic movie star, if you want to be some big tech guru, you come to the United States of America, baby. That's us. And then in hockey, they beat us. Like Sidney Crosby, I saw whatever that stat was. Sidney Crosby hadn't lost a USA versus Canada game in 10 years or something. And he maybe even longer. And his record, he had some wild unbeaten streak where Sidney Crosby is in the lineup. Canada has 40-0 in the last 40 games or something like that. So Canada just dominating the U.S. in this incredible sort of contrast between us and we are, again, the almighty, powerful United States of America just to the south. Yet in hockey, those motherfuckers own us. And it started to get a lot closer in the last 5-10 years. And the World Juniors, if you know, if you follow the Chicklets guys, and I know that's not going to pop onto your radar a lot, but the World Junior Tournament, which goes on between Christmas and New Year's, is basically comes down to USA Canada for the most part. And it's held in Canada a lot of the time, or it's held in Buffalo and shout out to Bushman in kind of the northern part of the US so that you get a blend of the crowds. And in Canada, it's bigger than the Super Bowl, the World Juniors. I mean, they do documentaries on all the players leading up to it, and they have this crazy high pressure as 18-year-olds to win the World Juniors. And we have started winning that thing, in a pretty good little clip here. And so there's a lot of momentum going in. And then going into this Four Nations, it's very interesting from my vantage point, because we started talking about this a couple weeks ago on the show for the first time. Frankie doing his whole Islanders thing. Great. There's some Blues on these teams. Great. But going into it, it's okay, this is a substitute for an all-star game. Will there be the juice?
Right.
So even me as a big hockey guy, 3 months ago, I started skating again for the first time, which might save my life, by the way. I had a 181 max heart rate the other day on Thursday playing hockey. 181 max heart rate.
It's good for you.
Get back into apparently, or I'm going to die out there. Either way. Even me, I was a little bit all right, I think this will have some juice. The U.S.-Finland game, it was exciting to watch them, and then the U.S. kind of blew them out. The Canada-Sweden game had an awesome start to the tournament when Canada won in OT with Crosby doing the behind-the-back pass, Mitch Marner coming down and scoring. It was great. And then this game, I got pretty juiced up in my little network of hockey buddies, dude. We were pretty fired up. We're betting on it. We played golf here Saturday. Alistair's a big hockey guy, so we got to get to Izzy's for this 6 p.m. puck drop afterwards. And before we even got down and ordered pizza, the game had already like reached its peak. There were 3 fights. I'm looking at the opening face-off. Guys are dropping their gloves, getting rid of the elbow pads and squaring up and ready to absolutely throw haymakers at each other. And it's the only sport, Trent, that you can really have that combination. You can't even fight in other sports, obviously. Why would you be able to just fisticuffs fight people unless it's a literal boxing or MMA? So not only that, you could fight. It's pure patriotism. It's like national. It's just like, we are American, you are Canadian. They were booing the national anthem, the United States national anthem, so that got everybody fired up. And then you're 9 seconds into the game, you've had 3 straight out like haymaker fights, you've had booing at the national anthem, and you're 9 seconds into this game being like, this is the most important sporting event I've ever seen, we have to win this game. And then McDavid scores early, so he's like the biggest star in the game. Canada, they're going bananas. We come back. So, I was glad to see that it transcended. And I'm curious to hear kind of your take as someone who, I feel like you almost were like an alien species who was dropped off randomly on this planet where they were playing hockey. And you were like, what the f- is this?
100%. And what happened to me was what you described, where I had no plans to watch a hockey game that night. I didn't even know there was a hockey game on. I maybe saw some rumblings, and we talked about it on the show, but I certainly wasn't sitting down and being like, all right, here we go. USA, Canada, ready for it. Got my jersey on and I'm ready to go. And it is Twitter. It's oh my gosh, they're fighting already. And the thing that I don't think I realized, or that I was starting to catch on to, is this was a replacement for the All-Star game. So these are the best players in the world that are now fighting each other. Like, largely, I don't know about the NHL All-Star game, but I'm imagining there's not a ton of fights in that. I'm sure it's probably just guys hitting the puck or zero. That's
football.
What I thought.
It's flag football,
Exactly. So now you have replaced the All-Star game with this Four Nations game, where now there's fights happening, and I'm sure there's GMs of hockey teams being like, what the fuck is going on? I got my crown jewel out there, and now they're trying to punch each other in the face. And that's an amazing thing. And you had said, like, we're trying to do this with golf. How do you make moments happen? I guess maybe there need to be fist fights in golf. That's really the only thing that I can come up with.